All right. 904 Unfiltered Jacks. T-shirt Bob here in a new position tonight. The lovely Piper Nyx down from Roanoke, Virginia. And Smiling Chip Davis in the hot seat tonight. Gonna be a good one.
Did a good job, Bob.
Hey, see, I can do this.
You did. That was really good. I like it. Thank you, John Metcalf, for that intro. And
we're going to be hearing a lot of John this weekend, right?
Woo! We're going to hear him Friday night.
Yes, sir.
We're going to Monkey's Uncle on Friday at 8 o'clock. They'll be playing. And if anybody's interested and wants to come out there, Psychedelic is playing live at Monkey's Uncle on 3rd Street Friday night. And they'll kick it off around 8 o'clock. And they'll also be headlining the 2026 Flounder Pounder for Autism Music Festival.
Hey, Chip, what kind of covers do they do? I haven't seen them yet.
Bob, they cover the Pretenders. They do Stones. They do Elton John. I mean, it's all the stuff we grew up with.
Good.
You know, everything but Echo and the Bunnymen. And
okay.
But even the Pretenders one, they killed the Pretenders. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It really is. We got any fishing reports?
Well, let's start out. Want to talk about music festivals, obviously, here in a couple of days.
Woo.
And so that's been a big effort. Piper's down to help. She's a coordinator for that. She was here for the Flounder Pounder before, kind of Chip's right-hand gal on certain admin stuff.
Yeah, I keep him stress-free and calm down.
That's good. He needs that.
She does a really good job. And once we dive into the interview and all that, she's been hearing about this music festival. So I was like, naturally, I had to make sure she was here. Because this is a dream of mine. It's something that, it's going to come to, it's going to come right in forefront Saturday. We're going to get her done. Mother Nature is giving me some really good weather. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But, hey, I went fishing.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah. I went fishing with my brother-in-law, Donnie. We went, I think maybe a couple weeks. I don't know. I went twice in the last week. The first time we went, I had that 30-inch red.
There you go.
Would hit the big spook, and I thought it was a big trout. And we had our limited trout. I think I had the biggest was about 20 inches. But then I went the other day on that pre-front on Monday before the front came through, and it was new moon. It just sucked. But my arm feels good. My knee sucks. It just sucks getting old.
Did you catch a lot of fish that last day? Usually the complaints.
Oh no!
When you catch fish.
We caught fish on when Donnie and I went. I think Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday, we went and we had a nice live well full. And one thing that Piper will address and talk about when we first started going out was, I said, "Oh God, look at these fish I caught." And then I go, and he goes, "What are you gonna do with them?" I said, "I'm gonna put them in the live well and take them somewhere else and take a picture." And she goes, and then I go back, the fish aren't biting. She goes, "That's because you take the fish and take them somewhere else. And then you go back and they're not there." She goes, what reason? What does that mean?
You should now just go to the Mayport dock,
right?
The boat ramp right there. Yeah. That's where they all are.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it was good to get back on the water. The egret ran really well. I want to get James in here with the egret.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, I want to get him in here because they've been wanting to look at my side console and, take some measurements and stuff. I think they're going to be popping a couple side consoles out. But I want to get James here. And after we get done with the music festival, we're going to dive harder and harder into this podcast. And really, I don't want to spoil it, but we got Larry Minyard coming in, which is, he's like the second coming to Mitch Kaufman.
Yep.
He's surfing, fishing. Terry Lacoste and his son TD are going to come in.
Yep.
And then we're going to have
Mayor of Chickapit.
Mayor Frank Gregg is going to come in, Mayor of Chickapit. And we're going to try to also bring in some other people outside of fishing. Like I got a couple lawyers that want to come in here, man. I'm like, okay, well, but they were reaching out to me, Bob. They were like, "Hey, we love your podcast. We'd like to be a part of it." So, in order to make the 904 Unfiltered for what we are, we kind of like, dive into different interviews with different people. But we are a fishing based podcast. Don't get me wrong, but I still like to get Chris Cincy in here.
Okay.
We got a huge list of people. We'll get them in here. So, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let my co-host, who is now the host of 904 Unfiltered with Bob Morris, which is Big Show Bob, and then you got me, and then we got the one and only Piper Nyx.
Yeah, I'm like, want to make sure everybody knows that you can go to the YouTube channel and rewatch these. So when we start branching out, if you're not interested in, say, for instance, like we had a great guest last week, totally out of the norm for what we do, but you can always tune into the fishing ones. I find myself re-listening to them when I'm riding around
Oh, yeah.
And it's neat to hear the stories and relive them. So it's been real fun for me at this stage in life, and I appreciate Chip for bringing me in.
I'm glad. I mean, and that's one thing about you have been very. You'll come to me and Bob would just be like, because at our age and all that, and Bob's like, Chip, thanks, man. I really appreciate you. Because I always thought I was going to do this by myself. I mean, I was like, I don't really need a co-host, but realistically, it's hard to sit in here by yourself and just have a guest. Bob and I are like yin and the yang, man. We pop off.
Bob's the reason.
Yeah.
Look at his sheet.
I mean, he is the man, dude. I mean, this is Mr. But we call him the Northeast Florida Flip Pallet. So this is Bob Pallet, which Flip Pallet, probably you don't know, but he's like he writes well, and Bob does his summaries on all his fishing tournaments. He'll write up, and he's very his grammar and everything is like perfect. Were you an English major?
No. I just have from being
figured out the pattern to it. It's fun.
I'm a picky, like attention to detail guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's from my career. Doing t-shirt printing, you're always looking for flaws and problems with the prints and things like that. So I just tend to pick out flaws. But I was talking to somebody about that. As a matter of fact, it was Mark McMillan. We went to Steenhatchee and fished in the Power Pole National Redfish Tour last weekend. The first time I shared the boat with him, we had a great time.
He's a good fisher.
He's a Clay County firefighter, but he made a mention that he was very good visually. And he's like, as an outdoorsman, you're used to looking for the differences. Is there a little ripple over there?
But he was attention to detail.
But he was absolutely a sniper. We went for about 5 hours on Friday and had terrible luck. So at the captain's meeting that night, we talked to Greg King, who's been a guest, and he and Mark fished together for years. And so we elected to abandon game plan A and just totally go different, and went blind. And he caught one. Chip, you'll relate to this. It was literally way over 8 pounds on the boga grip. And we're like, oh my God, this is the one. And it was just barely over the line.
Talking about how you have to measure them.
Yeah. Pinch the tail.
Yeah. With that little check stick is the baddest thing ever come out. But that's a tough one, man. I mean,
that is a tough one.
Nothing worse than having to let a fish that, because you don't want to be going back to the way. And we had when it was just barely over, because everybody has that story. But so many things have to go right. Bob won a big tournament, Piper, a few weeks back, one of the big ones.
Oh yeah.
Won $12,000. Awesome.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
But that was, fun to fish with someone new in a place I've never ever been before, and we did succeed. We came in, I think, 26th or 27th, something like that.
There was 90 boats, wasn't
it? Yeah, it was a sea effort, but hopefully in the points we'll be moving up. So that's what I'm looking for, as always.
Consistency.
We talked about that. Right.
Oh, real quick before we get going, Bob, I want to show you real quick. I want you to look at these. So everybody knows, Miggy Sunglasses, which is one of Piper's really good friends she grew up with, went to high school and college with, and she had mentioned about him starting a brand of sunglasses. And then he came down for the Triple Challenge last year. Then he came down for the Flounder Pounder. And now he's coming down. He's driving, probably went to Roanoke a lot because his mom was living in Virginia. Mm-hmm. So he's going to work Friday and just drive straight down.
Yeah, good time to listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Let's do it. So I want to show you these, Bob. So he came out with the glass lens. So that's the first pair. Piper picked them up for me, and they brought them down. And so they've got another one too, a closed one. For the fishing, a tighter one.
Nice.
But yeah, I love these. I love the style. And I love Chris. I mean, these guys are they do a lot for the community up there. Like a lot of their proceeds from this is no way their business. This is like their side hustle, like the Flounder Pounder kind of is for me. And, but they donate a lot of the money raised through stuff. They'll give 10, 15%.
Miggy's on a mission.
Miggy's on a mission. Yeah. They're really, so if you want to check them out, go to Miggy'sWear.com.
Yeah. Every pair you buy, a proceed goes to the charity that they're sponsoring that time.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And you're going to come down Saturday, you think, Bob? Or you'll be Yeah, you'll meet Kristen because he'll have his tent down there. Yeah. He's one of the nicest guys. I mean, he's like Bob. He's a Bob.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He's the nicest freaking guy in the world, dude. I'm like, I've never met someone so nice. Yeah.
And maybe it's that Southwest Virginia roots.
I think so.
It could be.
Migleries.
Yeah.
Miggy's.
It was crazy seeing him when I was picking up the glasses. He's working on a part, like swapping a part for a person, and you just see all of the John Deere tractors in a line around, like waiting to be serviced because it's about to be spring.
That's his other job.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the family business.
Yeah, they own
up there.
his wife was so bad. Nicole wants to move down here and live in Nocatee and raise her kids down here because up there, she said it's really tough when it gets cold. They don't do
go
nothing.
Outside.
Yeah, they don't do a lot. So
I don't see the sun anymore.
you don't need to. You're kissed by the sun.
I can sunscreen. But yeah.
Well, one thing I did want to mention that's kind of exciting is the Strike Zone tent sale. I'm going to be working that tomorrow morning, bright and early. I was out there yesterday unloading inventory, and if you hadn't been before, I suggest you go. I mean, there's
a big deal.
Some stunning deals. I'm looking at the label with the original price and then seeing what they're selling stuff for, and I'm seeing
the mirrors out there.
There's some husky jerks I had my eye on. There's a lot of gulps in the bins, a lot of mirrors. They run, in packing.
Yeah, that's a 3-day event, isn't it?
It is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they're gonna have. They had a couple of pallets of Shimano. They had a bunch of pin reels, Bulls Bay rods, Shimano.
Brian will be there.
All the main brands, but it's quite a. The thing being able to see the backside of it, and you don't think about, and it's a lot of, we will talk about this tonight with your thing. People don't understand how much work goes into putting on something like that.
Yeah, and it's like, Dave Workman gets hit. There's another Kingfish tournament coming out. They just announced it. I'm like, well, they'll go to Dave Workman if he's sponsor. I mean, there's so many fishing tournaments, and Dave just, he's a big, Dave's a big supporter of ours. We love Dave Workman, and we need to get Dave in this chair.
The symbol is great. Yeah, the logo.
Oh yeah. We need to get him in the chair.
Yeah, he said he'll come. We got to build it up though.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting.
Are they selling any clothing?
Yeah, we unpacked like, I don't know, 10 or 12. I mean, thousands of shirts, dry fit, cotton.
That's a big deal.
We
That's
should
huge.
stop by.
Yeah, man, we'll go out there after we go. I'll be on TV tomorrow morning, Bob.
Yeah, good. They got like 3 or 4 rounds. Hanging with ladies stuff, kids stuff,
nice.
Men's.
I'm a sucker for a good t-shirt.
Yeah, up to 4X, all sizes. I mean, I was really involved with the apparel side of it. So,
nice.
Yeah, but it's
t-shirt, Bob.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a thing. But go out there and check out the tent sale. You won't be disappointed. And the other thing that I didn't realize until working with them last year is they bring more different stuff out every day.
Yeah.
So you may think tomorrow is going to have this on sale. Then Friday it's going to be a whole new bunch of pallets rolled in. Thursday
Dave's
night.
got some connections, man.
Let me tell you, dude, it's like, I don't know, a lot of stuff in there. Crazy.
I saw that picture. I think it was Archie, and somebody had taken the shot up. Yeah. And it's just there's bin after bin after bin.
Yeah, crazy. So that's going to be fun for me. I enjoy it, and I'll get to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen.
And then you're going to roll on out Saturday. You're coming on out to the music festival in Palm Valley Outdoors.
Yep. Definitely going to do that. So Chip's the guest. Going offline, we first ever episode, we kind of talked about me coming up and how I arrived at where I'm at. So Chip, I'd like to know, are you a Jacksonville local native?
I'm a Navy brat.
Yep.
Navy brat. My dad did 20 years in the Navy, and our last stay was Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, which is an absolutely gorgeous country. I mean, and we, Guantanamo is right there at the very tip. And that's where I got my passion for fishing. I was fishing mangroves, man. I was catching bonefish on hand lines, and we were chopping them up for bait because I didn't even know, we didn't know that. I didn't know bonefish was, but I was fishing mangroves. And so my dad, we were down there from 70 to 74. I was born in Naples, Italy, in the military. And then my dad's last day. So we had a house on the west side. So we came back, we were renting it out, and we came back in 74. And I'll never forget, we pulled up and the people had just trashed the house. I remember my mom just crying. And so we decided to take off to Guam. So my mom and dad took me to Guam. Me and my sisters went to Guam in 1974. That's where my mom was born and raised in Guam. And we went over there for 3 months while we had the house rehabbed. So we got out of town and we had the house fixed and we had a big den and all that. And but yeah, my fishing roots were started down there. I had a passion for it, but then it was total shock when I moved here. I mean, when the first time they took me to the beach, and I was like, what the fuck? I mean, look at this water. I mean, I was in crystal blue water. I mean,
right.
I mean, it's a Caribbean island. I mean, it's beautiful. And so I had to adjust to that. And then I started fishing drainage ditches, which I say that, back when we were growing up, we were using, we were catching wild shiners, which at the time they were fun to catch, using bread balls and, fishing. And when I say ditches, this big drain house, like I grew up on the west side over there by London town. And so Cedar Creek, which is polluted at the time, and people were just dumping their sewage right into it. And, so I was fishing down there and then, but I always had a passion for it, bass fishing, I was fishing for bass. And then in the 80s, which I graduated in 83, I moved out. I left the west side. I was like, I'm not living over here. And I moved out to the beach, and then I hooked up with Mike Phillips.
Right.
And so Mike Phillips and I grew up over on the west side together, and Mike always had a passion for fishing. And Mike had a company called Star Roofing. He was like one of the first roofers, and Mike had the money back then, and he bought a bass boat. So we started going bass fishing in Rodman. And so we would just drive 2.5, hour and a half to Rodman, and we were shiner fishing. I mean, this was 87, 88, not really knowing anything about saltwater yet. And then, and so then I went fishing with a guy named Harry Gale, who's no longer alive. He passed away. He lived in Holly Oaks, right over there off Fort Caroline. And he goes, come on, I'm going to take you to a place called Mill Cove. And this is 1990. And I was like, what? Well, okay. So we went out there. We had popping corks and live shrimp. And he had an old 16-foot fiberglass boat with an 18 mark. We called it Black Bart. And I was like, Black Bart, and we put in right there at Lonnie Worm, and we just run straight over there to Quarantine Island. And he would set up. We never went. We always had to go at high tide because we didn't know what low tide was. It was like better on the grass lines. It's always go to the grass lines. And we would go to the grass lines and we would throw popping cork and a shrimp, and I caught a 27-inch redfish. And I'll never forget, I got home and called Mike Phillips and said, we ain't going to Robin no more.
Yeah.
He says, why? I said, dude, we had a freaking fishery in our backyard. Why are we going 2.5 hours somewhere? And then that's how I got introduced to saltwater fishing. I started fishing Mill Cove in 1990. And, and the rest is kind of history. I mean, I graduated, I got my first boat in like 92. It was a stump knocker. And I met a guy at the ramp, and he showed me how to throw a mirror lure. And he told me to move my trolling motor off the back end of my boat and get at the front, because I had it on the transom. He's like, well, that's your problem. And he showed me how to throw the red and white mirror lure. And our first fish I ever caught on that 52M was off that island that's no longer there. Where it was the east of Davis Point Bridge right there. But, that little island that we talked about that's gone. It was one of the best islands out there. And I don't know what happens. I don't know if just the grass dies on them or they just get washed out.
Yeah, I think water flow change. But if you, like I said earlier, we really had good conversations, episode 1 and 2, talking about that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go all the way through it, but I mean, so, I progressed into tournament fishing when I met, back it up, I met Raymond McCauley, and we got to have Raymond in here.
Yep.
And Captain Ray.
Yep.
And so Captain Ray was a nurse at St. Vincent's Riverside, and I started there in 1990, and I met Ray in 90, and then he started teaching me more fishing and like throwing grubs, and he had a pro line, and we'd even troll. Like we would troll the bridge for trout, which we would clobber them. And so Raymond kind of was introducing me to the offshore side too, because we were running a charter boat out of Fernandina. We were running it for a cardiac surgeon, and I was a mate. So that's how I got introduced to offshore fishing. But we always kept inshore fishing, and then Raymond and I fished the first triple challenge that Frank Gregg won, and we got 4th place. And I caught the flounder and the trout on a 52M Green Demon.
Yeah. And
then we lost our red back in the donut.
Right.
It was too big. It was 28 inches that we would have won it. And Frank Gregg took home and won this absolutely gorgeous mount that was made by, what's his name? The taxidermist. I can't remember his name right now.
We're going to bring that in when he comes.
Oh, he's going to bring it in?
He said I can pick it up.
Yeah, Ray Thomas. Ray Thomas was a taxidermist. And it was the most beautiful mount I've ever seen in my entire life. And I said, when I went to the captain's meeting, Grady had it all. It was that beach marine. It was just blowing up. And you've heard me talk about Grady.
The hat.
The hat. And, and the one thing he had on display was the trophy. And I looked at Raymond. I was like, dude, I want the trophy more than anything. I want that trophy. And Frank Gregg won it. And I remember walking up to him going, dude, congratulations. Can I just see the trophy?
Hey, the money's long gone, but the trophy's last.
Yeah. So, I'd love for him to bring that trophy in. And that's how, that trophy was what kind of, when I started the Flounder Pounder, was like, I need a badass trophy. And I mean, you can see how I started in 2010 and where I ended and with my last one, from where it was cut out, they were oak carvings of flounder, and that's what Little Man got, because and my buddy Matt, what's his name? Oh God, Krigo Creations.
Okay,
yeah, he made the trophies, and they were carved and they were flounder. Hey, you got to crawl before you walk. And now you look at the trophy I'm giving away, you know, it's not badass thing. So I started with wood and I ended with the best.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where we were when I walked away from that.
Well, now, how did you get into the medical field? You've been over at St. Vincent's forever. I mean,
well,
that's interesting.
You remember that friend Billy Frazier's friend Mariana?
Yeah,
little Mariana. But she was, you know, we were all hanging out together, and she would be, and I'm like, "Where do you work?" And she goes, "I'm going to work. I'm an RT, respiratory therapist." I said, "What do you work?" She goes, "I only work 3 days a week." And I went, "What?" I was like, "That's the kind of job I want." So I got my license, and I started at St. Vincent's in 1990. And I've been there 36 years.
How did you do? Go to college for your license?
Yeah, it's a 2-year degree.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's technical, you know, and you can get them. Now that we don't have any RTs, I mean, after COVID, it's like, I mean, they're you can't find any medical help. But I'm down to part-time at the hospital now, and you know, I love that. I'm thankful for the job, but it's where I get my insurance and everything. And I mean, it's steady work. I can work as much as I want. I could go in every day and work overtime. But I'm blessed. I get to go just 2 days a week because I got a lot of other shit going on. If I worked full time Monday through Friday, I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff I do now.
Yeah.
I mean, I just couldn't do it.
You can't work that kind of schedule either.
No, I can't work 5 days a week, but I'm still working every day I'm off.
So that's going to tie into your journey moving forward, because the fact that, you know, Tyler was born and diagnosed, we've heard that story. You know, you've got a circle of people that you can kind of lean on in the medic. You understand. It's like when my mom was sick, my aunt's a nurse, and I'm like, you're the medical one. You know, I'm going to be the one that runs organization.
Yeah. And she's like the proxy. She could tell you when the doctors came in. She could declare, you know, tell you in layman's words.
Because you kind of go blank when something traumatic happens. You need somebody that knows it. But so you got Tyler. You guys are running. You know, you're at St. Vincent's. Dick's Wings is open. Y'all are running that, and now you've got this situation that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
And so I want to know, how did the Flounder Pounder start? I know you were doing it as a fundraiser for the school, but when did you come up with this idea? I mean, obviously,
it's crazy.
It didn't just drop out of the sky.
No, well, you know, it's like it's kind of like, but thinking about that, it's kind of like how this music festival was. I've always thought about when Grady was doing fishing tournaments. I was like, man, you know, I was always just blown away by his persona and how he was on stage, man. I mean, this guy, you want to get up there and win, because Grady's like, he's the man. And so once I opted out, I never thought I'd be a tournament director until Tyler was diagnosed with autism in 2008. And we had to find a place for him to go. And we landed at the Jacksonville School for Autism. And part of the curriculum at the school was parent fundraising. And I'll never forget the moment Michelle Dunham was in front. Teresa's was right there, and then I'm walking behind her because she's showing us this little tiny school. The first one they ever had was just small. And she said, part of the curriculum around here is you have to raise money. You got to be, and I said, I'll do a fishing tournament. And she kind of scoffed at me. You know, she just says, okay. She's probably heard it before, but she didn't realize that the Holy Grail had landed in her lap. And so we enrolled Tyler in 2010 at the school. In the fall of 2010, I did my first Flounder Pounder. And we did it in 6 weeks, and we raised $16,000.
Yeah,
and I started it, and then she kind of coached me into learning how to be a fundraiser, because this money doesn't magically just show up at my doorstep. I mean, I have to hustle.
Yeah, but now you were smart in a sense by going for flounder, because flounder is kind of like an everyman. Sort of fish. Live bait guys can catch them. Lure guys can catch them.
Well, when I decided I was going to do a fishing tournament, I was up at the bar at Dick's Wings, and I was just, you know, walking. It was like on a Monday night, and I mean, I have to say it, but Troy Hutto was up there. You know, we all know the Troy Hutto story, but you got to kind of still believe in the history of what happened.
Sure.
So Troy was up there, and he was on the verge of getting rid of Salt Life. So, and I kept saying, man, I want to do a fishing tournament, and you know, it's just like I say in the video, which I, you know, for word, he had a tattoo on his arm and it said Flounder Pounder. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a fucking flounder tournament, and we're going to call it the Flounder Pounder, because no one had ever done one in Jacksonville. Because at the time they had the sheephead tournament already. Redfish were getting blown out. They got triple challenges. but nobody had ever done a flounder tournament.
And they hadn't made the restriction.
Right. There was, we still haven't, they haven't, with the new regulations. So we went into it in 2010 and I said, I'm going to do a flounder pounder. So I started, God, man, I could look back on the times and I was like, what am I going to do? And how do I do this? And God, where do you start? I mean, think about it, man. I mean, there was no book, about how to actually do it and to be a tournament director. And we did the first 2 years, we did it at the marina over there, Fort George Island Marina, which we outgrew that venue immediately. But I was still looking to do it on private property. I didn't want to deal with the city of Jacksonville. And so we moved it for the 2012. I moved it to Nippers at the time. It was Nippers. And, and so, and flounder pounder, and then it became a catchy flounder pounder, and I mean, people flounder pounder and
flounder pounder at Nippers.
Yeah.
Flounder pounder at Nippers.
Yeah. and so
behave yourself over there.
And so then as we start, then I tell people I started the journey, but one of the things that happened in 2000, Bob, was the economy crashed. So we just bought a restaurant for $300,000, and the following year, the stock market dropped below 8,000.
Yeah.
And here I was with a $300,000 loan, an autistic child, full time in the hospital, and now I'm taking on a fishing tournament. I'm like, what the fuck am I thinking, man? I'm like, how am I going to accomplish all this? I mean, and so what I did is I persevered, and I went out on top.
You made it to where they wanted to stand on stage.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
you made it exciting for the winners.
Well, the good thing about it is there's tournaments that we do that are professional tournaments, but this has the cause.
Yeah.
And the cause is important because that's what brings people in. I think it brings sponsors. I think it brings the angler's going to show up, regardless, but you wouldn't have the
way I've done it if I wasn't, driven inside, to help Tyler.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always the one that's make me get up and get some of this stuff done, but I do want to get up, but it's just, I'm proud of it, and like you said, when you're emotionally driven by something, it ain't as hard, you find a way, and I found a way to, raise a lot of money, but yeah, it affects me emotionally because I'm proud of what I've done.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
Should be. Not everybody can do that. And that's my next question on the list is, you're not a PR graduate from UNF or anything. How did you learn the fundraising game? I mean, how you're good at it. Does it just, I think originally you kind of rolled off on some of your friends.
What happened was, number one, we were lucky enough that social media came around.
Yeah.
So if you were trying to do this tournament and everything in the 90s, you would have to get a marketing team and market it, go and buy ads in a newspaper and all that. So once I learned how to do social media and start using it to my benefit and not really engaging in, political and religious stuff and just keep that off to the side and just show people what I'm doing, and let them, because there's some people that come and go. I mean, a lot of my sponsors have stayed for the duration, but Michelle had a big part of teaching me how to fundraise. And one of the things that she always told me was, if you build it correctly, they'll come.
Yeah.
And if you build it with integrity, transparency, and let people want to be up there on that stage, man.
And I think she got her MBA from UF.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah. She got it. Yeah.
Prestigious.
Yeah.
So
I got a 4-year degree I got a 4-year degree of hitting the road. I can tell you in the beginning.
You got a 4-year Michelle.
Yeah. Michelle she was definitely my mentor on how to do it. But I can tell you in the early years, I remember going over to the Bricks restaurant in San Marco. One of the patients was like, hey, our boss is, he's interested in sponsoring. So it was like in the 3rd year, and I took the shirt with me because at that time I would just take the shirt and say, this is what we're selling. And I'll never forget, the guy looked at me and said, no, we're not interested in that. And I was just like, and I remember going back to Michelle going, I quit. I don't like the word no, and she's like, well, and so, I built great relationships. Ben Rochelle of North Beach Fish Camp has been my title sponsor for all 16 years. I got him all the way to $15,000. And that was a ladder walk. I walked that ladder. Yeah. Ben didn't just jump to $15,000. We gradually grew together. because he trusted me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll never forget when I was going to go asking for $15,000, man. I was psyching myself up because how do you go and ask somebody, you know? But Ben, he didn't even hesitate because I'd already had a couple $10,000 sponsors, and Ben was already doing 10,000. I was like, I got to go a step above, but I didn't want to play a game. You know, no way would I ever have taken Ben and said, you're not doing it because you're not doing. I would just be okay with it. But then again, if you don't know unless you ask. Yeah. And I'll never forget, we were down there at Palm Valley Outdoors, and I met with North Beach Fish Camp, and Ben, you know, he's big, you know, 6'6". You know, he kind of walks in, comes through the back door, you know, and everybody's just like, Tin Hut. You know, I always tell him he's the general, man. I always say, you know, I said, Ben, you're like the Godfather, man. It's like you're up there, then you got these lieutenants, and I'm like, I think I'm on that wall too. But then he came through, and then we sat down, and then me and him walked over to a table because Sean Rampachet was with me, and I went over and I said, Ben, oh man, you know, you've been my title sponsor forever, and would you be willing to do 15,000 this year? He goes, yeah. No problem. I went, what? And I gave him a big old hug, man. You know, and I was just, you know, but I sold it to him like this. I said, you got 5 other restaurants. It's $1,000 to get on the shirt. Let's put 5 more restaurants on it, and for $5,000. Yeah. So we did $15,000, and I'll never, you know, I love Ben Rochelle like a brother. He's definitely a mentor, hell of a businessman. Doesn't mess around. Quiet guy. You know, carries a big stick. Yeah. He's a bad dude.
But what I see that's impressive,
yeah, he's a teddy bear, but you don't want to cross him. Yeah. You know, I mean, once you fuck him over, man,
he'll just step on you.
Yeah, I mean, he won't let you back. But yeah, so I learned the fundraising by number one, having a great cause. Yeah, you know, and I've kind of developed it over the years about going and meeting with people, which is really in the last 3 years kind of accelerated, where I get the check. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I'll go and, you know, people are like, they want the Chip Davis effect.
That's what it's called now.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, why not?
That's,
you know, why not go over there and give these people something for their money? Yeah. You know, they're writing me a check, you know, you typically don't do $500. $500 will get you a phone call. I did, but usually $1,000 and up, you'll get the ride out. But, you know, and because what happened was, and, you know, Bob, as being in the t-shirt business, I had like 90 some logos because it was only $500 to get on the shirt. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the graphic designer said, dude, I can't put all
They're
these
just dots.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, well, then I'll go to 1,000. Well, guess what? You know, 3/4 of the sponsor go, fuck it, we'll pay you 1,000. I was like, well, I just didn't, you know, I kind of eliminated some of it, but some of them just like, we'll just go to 1,000.
You also learned that technique works.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not that you would on purpose, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, and some of the people and the relationships that I've met with, I just was showing Piper this LinkedIn photo of a company called Shaycor.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that I was standing amongst 3 or 4 millionaires when I was out there with them. And my buddy Sean Johnson goes, Chip, you don't know those people in this picture right there, dude. Every one of those guys are ballers. I said, I didn't know. They all acted cool to me. You know, I didn't. You know, I walked in. They were just blown away by having my check with me and having my poster with me. And I said, hey, who's the best guy in here who can take the picture? Because the picture is the most important thing in this whole deal. If you don't know how to take the shot, I'm wasting my time. So we got a guy that took the picture, and then they did a $2,000 sponsorship. And I think I could probably get them back. You know, that's a new sponsor. So that's building relationships. Because when I did the sponsorship for the music festival, I kind of wanted to seek out some new people. Because my fishing guys have been getting, you know, they've been doing it for so long. And some of my fishing sponsors came back, but I didn't really go and hit up my fishing guys for, you know, I mean, it's a music festival, but we did manage to grab some new sponsors, and I'm really proud of them. And we got the shirts today. The shirts look really good. The merchandise looks good. You'd be, you know, Bob, you being in the t-shirt business, you'd like it. And Derek Bentley did a good job with it. If
the other sponsors want to do this, it's still Flounder Pounder.
Well, that's the thing. And Flounder Pounder is a brand. You know, we're not just fishing, you know. I mean, if you look at it, I just got the trademark for entertainments for, you know, anything. And so Flounder Pounder fishing tournaments, Flounder Pounder music festivals, Flounder Pounder sidewalk sale. I mean, it's all, you know, it's a brand. But, you know, the tournament by far, you know, I'm not saying I'm done with it. I might just play it out for 1 year and see, but
nah, you got to come back. You're gonna get it.
It's just a lot of work.
You don't want to lose.
This might be the new location.
I know.
Don't lose your momentum. That's
this
my
might be
suggestion.
the new location over here, the new festival site. That
I mean, I trust me, man. I mean, it's you know, one of the problems I was having with it too, Bob, was like we were getting pushed further back in October because of the closure. Because I always like doing it in the third week in October because I feel like the bigger fish are around. So it started getting hot. Now I'm getting chased by hurricanes, low pressures. But there's a lot of tournaments out. There's a lot of new tournaments out there. There's a lot of tournaments are popping up. When they flew the banner last year, it was like, you got to go out on top, man. How else are you going to beat it when, Paul Rohan flew the banner and said, thank you, Chip Davis, for 16 years. I didn't even know it. He surprised the shit out of me. He'd have ran the one that morning that said, all you can eat lobster. And he was running it down to Altel or whatever. And so when when he came back, Bob, and they were all in the tent going, go look at the thing. I was like, yeah, it says all you can eat lobster. And they're like, no. And I walked out there, dude, and the guy on the plane was just flying it by. And it was like, I was just like.
It was so funny. You were a little stressed too. You're like, it just says lobster. I don't want to look at it.
And so fundraising, what's so really cool too, Bob, about fundraising is like I've been kind of like a mentor to a couple people. One of them is a girl named Alexis Dillard, and she's doing, a runway show there's a place called Possibilities Plus, which they hire a lot of special needs. It's right over there in Mayport. We're going to go check it out. And she has a 32-year-old autistic brother. And so I'm looking more to raise money for people that are going to help my son later. The adolescence, he's an adult now. So, Flounder Pounder wants to start helping people that are going to help my son, like anything, places that can, adults with special needs,
Yeah, he's getting ready too. He doesn't want any help. I'll ask him questions like, I don't know. Yeah. Do you want me to take your plate? No. Do you want to take it? Yes. Okay, cool.
Well, we'll skip the itinerary. We'll go down a couple now that we're talking about this is, now you've got an adult on the spectrum. What are your challenges that you're thinking in your head at this point? I mean, obviously he's come a really long way.
Yeah, I would say he's come a long ways, but one of the biggest fears as a special needs parent is what's going to happen to my son when I'm gone, because we're his number one advocate. And Teresa's a phenomenal mother, and and does everything. Tyler's just he's going to be out there rocking on Saturday, man. Psychedeli's going to play Inner Sandman for him. Okay. He's a headbanger. He
has your personality.
Yeah, he loves to be on the microphone. He likes to be up there, but one of the fears is Tyler is going to have a caregiver for the rest of his life. He's not able. He's a functioning adult, young man, but as far as like driving, he's not driving, but he's good at doing jobs. He's a puzzle savant. I mean, he's very smart. Sometimes we tend to talk to him like he's still a little kid, which sometimes, I think sometimes he goes, what's wrong with you, dude? And Piper kind of talks to him more as an adult versus, I think sometimes it's just one of those things. Yeah. You have a tendency to, coddle him more than you would if he was just but if you've seen him, he's a man. Yeah. He's a 225-pound man. But he's come a long ways, and in the future, like I said, as I continue to do as much fundraising, I'm going to be looking into places that are going to be some place that can help my son. Then I'm going to raise money for him. Yeah, I'm enjoying raising money for Autism Wonderland, but I don't know if I'll do it again next year for him. I'll find me another nonprofit that's going to be reaping the benefits, because I don't want to go away and, like you said, lose contacts with people. Yeah, I just have to transform this energy into something different. And right now it's this music, and then, fishing tournaments with you and everything.
Well, the sponsors, they want to be part of the community, but there's also a marketing aspect to it. I mean, I know I had a client years ago. I'm going to date you, Piper, because you were a youngin'. But, way back when there wasn't an internet, we had Yellow Pages, remember?
Oh, God.
Hey, same.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're not as young as
I was that generation.
Okay.
That was both.
God,
there you go. Well, and like one of my clients sponsored a youth league, and they put their logo on the back of the T-shirt. And he's like, the thing you don't understand is the mom's doing laundry, and the John backs up. Well, there's the plumber's name on the back of the T-shirt. Bam, that's who she's calling. In mind, in sight. And so I think there's a benefit. And I know that I notice when you come on with your big check. Well, who the hell's right? Yeah. And you think about it. I'm like, well, hey, if I could use a company that's supporting
Yeah.
the cause versus somebody that's not, well, you know, all things considered the same.
And you know what? A lot of times,
Jason.
you know,
Is that
yeah.
Jason?
What's
Makes-
oh, Jason,
makes the
Jason,
checks.
Jason.
I want the Chip Davis check.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
mine.
He's actually making one. I'm actually going to be helping, kind of like overlooking and helping these people with a redfish tournament, Bob. But it's 21 and under.
Mm-hmm.
It's for another good cause. It's for my friend Lori Gaglione. Her son goes to this school. It's a private school.
Yeah.
It's called the Redfish Rampage.
You
Nice.
took him out fishing, and now he's making his own fishing tournament.
But they're getting a check. You know, they want to get a big check. You know, I'm like, go get the check, and then we'll go try to find some sponsors. And
You're going to
stuff like
MC
that.
it for him?
Yeah, I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it at Palm Valley Outdoors this May 6th. Yeah, I want to MC
And
it.
it's an only youth one. It's
Yeah,
really
it's 21
cool.
and under. Yeah, you got to be
it's exciting.
21 and under. So I'm kind of like, I didn't want to like put my name on it, but I want to help them because Lori Gaglione. Did you ever know Lynn Gaglione? Did you know Lori? Lynn and I dated. Lynn and I
back in the
dated for
day.
years.
Those are,
Well, you'd know Lynn if you saw her, but Lori is she's a disability lawyer in Jacksonville, probably one of the best. She went to University of Florida. She's amazing, and she sponsors me every single year. And so her and her friend are putting this tournament on. So I think it's only right that I can help.
mm-hmm.
No way am I going to pound the pavement for them, but I'm going to kind of educate them and teach them. So, you know, what I would do. But yeah, I think sometimes on the back of the shirt, people want to sponsor those who are taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
So you want to utilize the sponsors that are actually helping people in the community. You know, and that's one of the reasons some people reach out to me, like Lloyd's Construction, Sonny and them. They said they were ready to get back into helping the community. And a lot of people are like, we want the money to stay here. So a lot of the causes, the money's staying in Jacksonville. You know, sometimes, you know, you write a check, you know, to some of these other, you know, where's the money going?
Right.
All the money, you know,
And it's such a separate system. There's no personality with it. You also, with their donation, they get advertisement.
yeah.
Along
Oh,
with
yeah.
your
And
name.
that's when social media comes in. You know, that's when I go and,
You taught me TikTok. So.
yeah. Well, that's why, you know, going in there. And so you know what I always tell people, and this is what, if you plan on being a fundraiser and all that, it's a two-way street. You know, just don't pick the check up and disappear. Every one of my sponsors know that they can call me anytime and ask me, you know, to do something. Can you do that? I mean, because they're, you know, I'll go to work for them, you know, and I mean, and I've told them, and I said, it's always been a two-way street. You know, you sponsor me, I go to work for you. And anybody that's looking to try to be a fundraiser or can go out and do that, just remember, you know, don't embarrass your sponsors. You know, do what you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and then pull it off and make them proud. And then usually they'll come back the following year. You win some, you lose some. You know, you're going to lose some sponsors.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it like this, Bob. I've raised, and this will be my 18th event. Since 2010, I've raised $1,650,000. And the biggest donor to date was a $25,000 donation.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I raised $1,625,000 grinding.
Yeah. Well, that's impressive.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I remember when I first hit $250,000, $250,000, I was like, holy shit, man. But now when you're thinking I'm pushing close to 2 million, and it's all been on the backs of small businesses.
Now you're getting one fundraiser of over 200,000.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. One time I think the most I ever did was 203,000.
Yeah.
I did it. That check right there. This is 206.
203.
203. Yeah, that was a big one, Bob. That was a lot. You see, the problem what happened with the turn is I always had to beat what I did the year before. So that was my own call. That was my own demise.
But you did it 15.
I did it straight. This past year was the first year I didn't beat 203, but that was like a phenomenal year. You know, I did 175.
Yeah.
This year was horrible weather.
It was
all year round.
The weather, but it's just the sponsors, you know, they're there, but I was,
well, you're fighting an election year. I mean, the economy kind of sucks.
Oh my God, inflation. I mean, I've got some sponsors like, shit, we just don't have it. I was like, hey, because, you know, one thing that people don't understand, I have to call these people. I don't just, nobody just goes, it's flounder pounder, send the checks. So every year I go down and I'll make a text. And if I don't get a reply, that means they either didn't get it or they're not sponsoring. Sometimes they don't want to tell me no, so they won't even respond, which makes me feel like I did something wrong, you know. But when I do catch to them, and I'm like, hey, dude, don't worry about it, man. You were there. You've been on that. You're part of that $1 million. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of businesses that we know that are part of that $1 million. You know, I mean, right now, I think for the music festival, we're at 52,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, it's not up to my standards.
For a first
annual? I'm used to raising over 100,000 every year, you know.
Annual.
Yeah, the first annual.
This is your number one first annual already.
Yeah. So it's fundraising's fun and all that, and I'm going to continue to do it. But there's a method to the madness, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of created a system, I think.
What's the, you've built your brand now. Let's talk about high and low points. What's the worst thing that's happened to you? When you don't have to name names or anything.
No. Well, when
I know your feelings get hurt a lot when you're doing this thing. It's hard to ask people for money,
right?
And you have to put up with a lot of rejection,
right?
But I don't know.
If I can chime in, I think what hurts the most is if they go to social media without talking to you first.
Yeah,
I've seen a few of those. Just
keep it all. Yeah, let's keep it between us.
And then you're blindsided, and it's just social medias. And
there's no, Bob. There's not really been a lot of lows.
No, there really hasn't. It's just miscommunications.
In the sense of I've lost a few sponsors through miscommunications, and somebody didn't. I did something, or I didn't. You're giving this person more love than you're giving me, and no, I'm trying to manage.
Lost a venue.
Yeah, I moved venues. I mean, that was a huge undertaking, walking away from Mobby and going down to PBO. That was a challenge in itself. I did that 6 weeks before the 15th annual. I said I just had to make a move, man.
But as an angler, it hasn't made a difference.
No, it's Bob. This is the old adage: if you got fish, you're coming. Okay.
Isn't it adjusting? Isn't that what you guys say?
Yeah, you got to adjust. Yeah, you got to adjust. That's what Donnie says. You got to adjust. We've ran. Bob. We ran St. Augustine. We ran all people fish St. Augustine. They're going to run to Jacksonville. You fish Fernandina. So it's no different from running from Mobby to Bomb Valley Outdoors. It's 20 minutes. You clear the Beach Boulevard Bridge. You're hauling ass. You're there in 15 minutes. So
was one of the high points the banner? Talk about. Well, I know you're proud of the money you've raised and what you've done for the cause and for Tyler, but what gave you the most juice? Chip Davis,
one of the biggest, and this is my best tournament was when Eddie Kabler won my tournament. Dude.
Yeah,
Eddie comes with people were like blah 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 blah. You're always pulling for certain people to win your tournament, and Eddie. You beat him in 2013.
Hey, you weren't happy when I won?
Yeah, of course I was. But the reason why, what it was is because everything played out. The juice was right. Bob Manus, my DJ, had the right song playing, and we had, and I miss Mobby because I miss the fact I miss a lot of my locals coming because PBO is a drive. So we had it packed out, and I just remember, and my biggest. The most fun of the tournament for me is the awards. I hate the weigh-in. The weigh-in's always, and when the last boat's weighed in, I'm like, yes. But I just remember, looking at, this guy's had a third, a fourth, a third, a second, now he's got a first, put your hands up for Big Show Eddie Kabler, and all of a sudden you get, da-da-da-da-da, the George Thorogood, and Eddie's coming down and he's high-fiving people. Man, that's what it's all about. That's what I try to bring to my tournament. I try to bring the juice, and I did that when I emceed the Greater Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I had the opportunity to go out there and MC those.
People stayed through a lightning storm where they had to go back in their cars and wait, and instead of leaving, they waited.
Yeah,
to come and see the end of the tournament because it's the most fun.
It is, and for me, it's just fun when I know a lot of these people, even though inshore, offshore. So a lot of the names I was reading down, I was like, oh, I know this guy, but there was 450 people at that one. when I went up on that stage, I remember looking at Piper and I said, let's put your hands together. And you're like, baby, you had everybody going. And I look over at this picture and Piper's even waving her hands. I
didn't know why. I was like,
I had that crowd juiced, man. It was so much fun.
That's been missing, because I've been in the game a long time, and Grady was the original.
Yeah, Grady was the original,
and you took it a key from him. But that's when you've gone out there and
busted your ass all day.
You want to come up and at least be acknowledged, good, bad, or indifferent.
The whole story why I felt rejected when Mike Phillips and I won the 2000 Redfish Tour Championship, which was a 3-day tournament, the biggest day of my life, and there was probably 15 people there, and I was like, what the hell? And it was just. But I remember we were in the grassy field at Beach Arena and Grady. Me and Mike won everything, but. That's definitely one. The highs has always been bringing the people up, and even watching the guys that won this past year's tournament. They've been trying to win it for 13 years.
Yeah. But what you did that was smart. is when you have it at Mavi or PVO, you've got the locals and just the patrons that are there, and all of a sudden, what's this going on over here? And it raises aworeness not only for the
people down at PVO, they didn't know what the fuck hit them.
Yeah,
when Flounder Pounder showed up, they're like, "What the hell?" Because we're talking about Nocatee, blue collar, high white collar, and Flounder Pounders down there. My merchandise sales dropped, cut in half.
It was pretty disheartening when you had to change 6 weeks in, but you persevered. You did really good. And you're working it back up. People still don't realize that, hey, we're still at Palm Valley.
Well, it's nice to go, from a fisherman's perspective. You can go up there and get you a cold cocktail, get you a fish sandwich.
Come by water, come by.
Yeah. Well, I always said I was never going to do my tournament at the boat ramp. No. I'm just not doing it, man. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it at a boat ramp. And really, unfortunately, in Jacksonville, you're kind of, you're limited to the Palms, and I like that, but I'm not doing it. It's not big enough to handle my tournament.
No, you couldn't do it there.
I couldn't do it there. And then what else you got? You got the boat ramps, which I'm not doing it there. And then you got back to Mavi. Or now we have Paul Rohan at PBO, and there's a lot of tournaments coming through there now. They're doing that new Kingfish shootout with Paul Dozier. Their captain's meeting. They're shutting it down for a private party. Yeah, that's a high roller.
Oh, wow.
It's a high roller. It's like I think it's $5,000 entry, $50,000 first place cash. But they're going to roll it out of Palm Valley. Paul,
is it like different if females?
They have a ladies division.
I don't understand why it's sexist, but okay. I don't get it.
We're part of the Me Too movement.
That's not a good one.
So reminiscing and going back to the last 16 years, the highest of the highs and lowest of the lows. I never had any controversy. Scott Spivey was part of the team that won one year. And everybody wanted me to, DQ him out, but he was part of the team because he got caught cheating in the sheephead tournament, that next tournament, mine, and then he cheated, and he was part of the winning team, and they were like, he cheated. I was like, what do you want me to do, man? Jesus Christ! I mean, I'm not going back and taking it back.
He signed it off.
Well, it was like four months later, and then I had to do some polygraphing for a couple of years, and I don't have a problem with polygraphing. I just feel like polygraphing for me is like, if I was a pro tournament, I can get it. But, I'm a charity tournament and going and getting the FBI lady. But it does keep people on their toes when there's going to be a polygraph. So I get it as an angler. I just kind of like people to know if you cheat in my tournament, you get your ass beat, you'll never show up ever again.
Well,
I can assure you that everybody in Jacksonville will whip your ass, and you won't ever show your face. You won't fish another tournament. So just don't cheat. And that's why I had a 2-pound penalty for a dead fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's exciting because you keep it. I'm
running
you
a tight
ship. Bring them in right when you catch them.
You're a tournament angler.
Oh yeah.
So you can kind of if something looks fishy.
Oh yeah. No, I had a guy, my buddy, lives in Orange Park. I can't remember his name, but he, they would have won the tournament, but the fish was dead. His name's Bert, and he came up. They caught the fish early that morning, and they had an old Hughes with a step well before they started making the release wells, an old Lappy, and the fish beat itself to death. It weighed 8.64, Bob. Beautiful fish. Well, I had to take 2-pound penalty, and they ended up getting it went from first to fourth, and they didn't complain. But I ain't favoritism to nobody, man. I'll DQ you in a heartbeat, kick your ass out.
So you come up on my last question. You've kind of already answered it. So it sounds like in the future, your strategy is going to be to look for more adult-related charities to help. But I'm sure if somebody comes to you with a good idea, so you're going to look at it.
I'm not just walking away from like helping adolescents with autism or any kind of special needs, but there's more of a need right now for adults with special needs, because what happens when our kids transition out of these schools and all that, and where do they go? I mean, we don't want them just sitting on an iPad and doing nothing. Tyler can be productive, but he'll have to be supervised.
And it turns out you're really good at fundraising for things.
Yeah. If anybody out there has a need, let me know.
Well, that's what I'm kind of getting at is,
I haven't even found one yet.
Through adversity, things happen. And you've been given a gift by God,
to the
in
gab.
My opinion.
I got the gift to the gab.
And it's good that you have the voice to say it now.
Well, and it's so fun. It's crazy. We wouldn't even be discussing this if Tyler wasn't diagnosed with autism.
Right.
I would never had to have a fishing tournament. We'd just have a normal child, and I'd probably just be fishing like the rest of us. But when he got the diagnosis, one of the things I told myself was like, I'm going to take a negative and turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
And one of the best stories I ever had is when we went to see Dr. Cato. She's a behavioral specialist, neuroscientist, or neurologist. And it was right after like the 10th annual or something. And our psychiatrist wanted Tyler to be reevaluated. And we went to see her, and it was at the top of the 6th floor out there at the Nemours. And she says, Tyler Davis. So, walking up, and I told the story before, but it's one of my biggest ones I loved. And Dr. Cato, and I said, hey, how you doing, Dr. Cato? I'm Chip Davis. She goes, how you doing? I go, have you ever heard of the Flounder Pounder? She goes, yeah. I said, yeah, that's me. She goes, that's you? And she goes, I'm in the presence of a celebrity. I said, no. She goes, do you know how much awareness you've created in this city? I said, but you know what's so crazy about it is I don't go looking for the accolades. A good example, Piper right here, when I first met her, she's like, tell them your story, Piper, when you first, this is a great one about the Flounder Pounder at the MVPs. You got to hear this.
I saw one of your stickers, and I was like, just talking with somebody. I'm like, Flounder Pounder? That's not a really fun name.
I don't even know her.
I know. I'm like,
tell them the truth.
Flounder Pounder. I'm like, Pounder, I don't even know her. So then, of course, someone turned and said, that is a charity. And I'm like, wow, I got to meet this person. That sounds hilarious. And if he, she, they, whatever, aren't into laughing about it, then they're missing out on this big thing. And so the day came when I was like, my friend or whatever I was with said, that's the Flounder Pounder guy. I'm like, no way. And I just go right on up. Hi, I'm Piper. Flounder Pounder, I don't even know her. And he starts laughing. I'm like, awesome. We're going to get along very well.
Well, and at the time she was dating somebody, and she went home because I said, well, why don't you and your boyfriend come over to the house and let's hang out? But
the first thing you actually said to me, though, was, yeah, but I'm tired of fishing tournaments, because I had some questions in mind. I'd been thinking about if I met the Flounder Pounder and fishing. Okay. And I had a few things lined up, and he's like, music festivals. I'm like, what? I was like, but you've done fishing for so long. Why change, man? If it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Right.
And he's like, no, music festivals. I'm like,
yeah. And she did. She, and that's why she's always told me to follow my dream, because I've been like trying to find when is the right time to actually try to. This is a bucket list thing.
You said a day of awareness.
Yeah, for autism, Flounder Pounder for autism, a day of awareness. Like bring out your family, because my goal was to be one day at the pavilion at Jack's Beach. I think I could pull it off. Yeah. I want to be in front of 10,000 people, instead of, and
10 years now, you told me that story.
Yeah. I met with Sam Veal. Billy was with us, and he set the meeting up over at Dick's Wings. And I met with Sam, who runs all the events and everything down there. And he just told me I couldn't do it. And I said, okay, well, thanks for your time. He's like, yeah, no problem. And now he's been kind of following my social media.
Now he follows, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think this is kind of like an audition for something that could be bigger, because why not go for it, man? I mean, I don't think there's a reason why I couldn't be set up down there as a Flounder Pounder for Autism Music Festival, a day of awareness.
The one thing you've proven is that if you want to do it, you don't need anyone's help.
No, I don't need help. I mean, I would need help. I would need help to pull that off. But I mean, there's no reason why. I never one time Salt Life was down there as the it was the Salt Life Festival. It was like in February. Now how they got the seafood festival and all that. And I remember they paid $25,000 to be the title sponsor, and they called it the Salt Life. But I just remember the guy that was running, I was like, why aren't you up there on that stage introducing the bands? This is when I was with Lenny. We're sitting in and we were in my 10 by 10 tent, and we were out selling Salt Life. There was so many people at my tent versus over the Salt Life tent, and because they had the big one right in the middle. But I'm like, why aren't you up there, dude? This is your festival. Go up there and announce the bands. No, I don't want to go out there, man. But
not everybody can speak in front of people.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, if you look at a festival and you have a front man and you have somebody that's firing people up out there, and you get these bands of mine that are playing them, these guys have been practicing all week. I went by and hung out with the guys that practice after the fact band that'll be jamming tomorrow this weekend. These guys are fired up. This is like a fishing tournament, then, man. They're band practicing and all that.
They got chosen to play the first Flounder Pounder music.
How did you get it? I mean, all these people, obviously?
You know what? I mean, a lot of them, like Psychedelic, which you'll listen to Friday night. You'll love them.
You met him at where we're going tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
First Coast Living.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, because Lane Pittman, Florida Man's playing. They're playing. So a lot of those they're cover bands. Some of them do a little bit of original, but most of them. King Eddie, you know, Peely, hot. You know, he'll be on TV with me tomorrow on First Coast Living. He's kicking.
He's coming. Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's going to be on. He's going to do a couple songs tomorrow, and he has 2 autistic grandchildren.
Okay.
So this cause is really, you know, he said, Chip, because it was hard for me to find an opening band. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to start at noon. Like, come on, man, dude, I got to be out there at noon. I'm like, so I asked King Eddie, because he has another gig at 6:00 that night. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he said, it'd be an honor to open up to be the first guy to play for you, Chip. And I said, damn, bro. And then he told me that he had two of his grandkids were on the spectrum. So this is something special with him. And we'll talk about that tomorrow when I'm on TV, which I'm looking forward to that segment being on there. I'll talk. TV is, I'll never forget the first time I went on TV. I was with Don Dingman. Mm-hmm. And he had a little spot before he got busted dating the weather lady. And it was like Tales of Don Dingman. And
I remember that.
Well, it brought me in, and I remember I was like so scared the night before. It's like, but if you have a good interviewer, they're just throwing you softball questions.
Well, then, Piper was nervous a little while ago, and she's
look at her now. She's becoming natural.
I told him, I'm like, I can stand in front of 500 students and teach organic chemistry, but somehow this is scaring me.
Well, we love this platform. Bobby, you and I have talked about it. I mean, to have the opportunity to tell my story, because a lot of people know my story, you know, just be through this, but tonight is I told you I was going to get emotional. Always, you know, I'm better at the emotion part when it comes to my son than I used to be. I mean, I would bring Tyler's name up and just, you know, what it's and it's not crying.
Michelle would be there to
Michelle would
bring back. That's how you guys used to.
But now, I mean, I took Tyler on TV twice with me, man. My full blown autistic son went on with me. And one time the guy didn't shake his hand. Tyler put his hand out there, and the guy, he was turning around to talk, and then was like, why didn't he shake Tyler's hand? So we went on the next year. And I said, shake his hand. And he said, oh, yeah. He didn't know what he was doing. But getting the TV exposure has been great. And Justin Miller which Justin wants to come on our podcast. He's the producer of First Coast Living. He's awesome. He'd love to come sit. He critiques he says our sound's good thanks to our man Andrew right there, our producer. He'll be a great guest. But he reached out to me probably like in 2012 and said, hey, would you love to come on? It was River City Live. And I remember going on that one, man. I was almost about to vagal down. I was like, they're like 5 seconds. So now I'm like, let's go. You know, when they say tomorrow and they go, well, you were on the stage. So they also know, Bob, this is rare that I'm even interviewing sitting.
I know, no chairs.
Because I won't. And so Piper went with me to do the triple challenge. One of them, you went with me. And
yes.
And they had me sitting, and Piper's like, no, dude, you don't sit.
She went to go pull the chair out. I said, no need. They're like, okay, are you the assistant? I'm like, I'll take that.
That's right. That was the morning.
I could have been called worse.
Oh my God, that's a whole other story. So one time when I went down on a Saturday morning, Bob, they had the Heart Walk. And we came over the Heart Bridge, dude, and I had to get to the TV12 station, and there were so many people, and we pulled up to the cop, and it was a community officer. And
there was a lot of volunteers that weren't allowed to leave the spot they were in, and the acting cop didn't want to.
And I said, I got to be down there. And then I said, fuck it, I'm not going to go on TV. And
I asked the guy, and I'm like, hey, because I'm from Baltimore, man. I'm like, come on, no, just do it. Just break the line. It's fine. But I asked the community officer, I'm like, okay, so you can't leave the spot? Chip, go.
Yeah, and so we went over,
and the guy just went okay, and I'm like, and stop here. I got out. I made everybody stop.
Like the parting of the sea.
Wow. I stopped the Heart Walk, and I said, this guy needs to get through.
And so we got to get this. So we get to the studio, and we parked because we couldn't get the people were walking in front of the Channel 12 studio right by the baseball park. And so I grabbed the trophy. Piper gets the check. We're walking with the people.
I wrote a note that said, please don't tow.
Yeah, don't tow our car. And then we got into Channel 12, and that's the morning we went in there, and the lady goes to Piper, goes, are you his assistant? She goes, yeah. And then that's when I set up the whole stage. I was like, no, we're going to put the trophy here. And so being on TV has given me a lot of exposure. And I'm not really scared of TV anymore. I love it. Like tomorrow, I'm going to embrace the shit out of it. I can't wait.
You always start with one song, though.
Which one? Oh, the
Eminem.
Eminem. You only got one shot. I'd go in the bathroom, Bob. I'd get fired up. So I'd play. You only got,
there you go.
Dun, 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 dun. And I'm in there like slapping my face. Cause they'll come in. They'll go 10 seconds. You're like,
I am the assistant. I man the door.
Yeah, you
just like, all right, it's time.
But this has been really, really cool, like getting to tell my story because, like I said, I'm always in that chair. And having the opportunity to come in here tonight and really let people know a little bit more about me other than what it is, because in the real world, dude, I only got like 5 true friends.
Mhm.
You know, everybody knows that you got this big following, and those are all acquaintances, but I only really have 5, you know, and I mean, I count Bob as one, but, you know, people that I can really turn to as friends that know me. I'm a really private person. You know, I mean, I sound like, I'm all over the place, but I don't bring a lot of people in my circle.
You tell your story, and that's been the same story for the most part.
Right. And so,
and you found yourself as a good promoter through it.
Yeah, I love it. Even Paul Rohan says, "You're the best promoter I ever met, Chip." I said, just trust the process, bro. He keeps worrying about, you think anybody's coming on Saturday? I go, dude, just trust the process. They're coming. Yeah, you know, they're coming. I mean, and it's going to be, the parking's going to be, you know, I wish I had a bigger parking and all that, but we're going to make do. But it's going to be kind of like one year when we came over when Flounder Pounder was really popping off. Because there was a time when I peaked at it. It was like the 14th or 15th annual. No, maybe it was like the 12th or 11th when I had Mobby and I was rocking it. And my buddy came over the Beach Boulevard Bridge heading east. And he said, as far as you could see, there was cars parked everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was packed out. Remember, Bobby, when you'd go in there?
So that makes sense why you were always so stressed.
Yeah. But, you know, I don't really get that same feeling with the fishing tournament at PBO. Because
it's just not there yet.
Well, I mean, if I was going to continue to run them through there, it's just because the people aren't going to drive from Jack's Beach to PBO.
Right.
You know, it was easy. It was essentially located right there at Marby, Nippers, and Blue Typhoon, Big Dogs. All the people I had to go through, every owner I had to go through, introduce myself and tell them what I do. And some of those places, their biggest day was when I did my event.
Right.
You know, they'd have their most sales for, that day. So, but Paul Rohan has been really good, and he's hosting a lot. And but I think on Saturday we're bringing a different demographics of people, so it's just not a fishing anymore. It's music brings people together. Bob, you go to a lot of. Yeah, I see you and your wife going. You hit a lot of the old stuff, like with Milk Bar shit we used to go to. Mm-hmm. You like all the older bands and all that. So music has a way of bringing people together. When I was walking out of some of these checks that I was getting this year, a lot of the office managers and stuff really didn't care about the fishing tournament. Mm-hmm. But when I told them, they're like, "We're coming." So
even your coworkers,
all the coworkers, they're like excited to want to come. So I really don't know what to expect. You know, the hard part's done. The money's been raised. The weather, Mother Nature has blessed us with a beautiful day. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, that's always the biggest fear of doing it outside. Anything outside is the weather.
And I got to actually see this whole process of when you decided to do the music festival. It actually started a year or two prior when you started realizing younger generations were still interested in the Flounder Pounder. They knew the name because it was catchy.
I was really shocked at how
you were shocked, and you're like, wait, is it time to try this new thing? Yeah. And you're bringing so many.
Yeah. Well, tell us, let's talk about the schedule. When does it start?
So Saturday. So the first band kicks off at noon. Mm-hmm. So 12 o'clock. I mean, you can come by boat. I got a feeling the boat's going to be 10 deep. I mean, I think Tony Egan's going to bring his new ride down there. Tony will be bringing that badass and set it down there. But so it starts at 12, and each band is going to go 45 minutes. So we're going to do 12. So we'll do bands 45 minutes, 15-minute break, 45, and then we get all the way to the grand finale, which will be like after the fact band. Then we got Redfoot, which is a Sammy Hagar tribute band with John Metcalf plays lead guitar in that, and they're really good. Mm-hmm. And then Metcalf and the boys go on probably about 8:30 for the headliner. And so it's going to be an all day thing. I mean, we'll be down there all day. I told Piper we got to pace ourselves.
Water.
You know,
eat protein.
And you know, typically I don't even drink or anything during any of my events. I mean, I know that's
not towards the end.
Yeah, at least especially for the fishing tournament. You know, I mean, I always had to be on my A game.
It's a job.
It's a job. Yeah, I don't go down there and get white girl wasted.
I carry the same one the whole time.
Somebody will give me a beer and I'll take one sip and I'll put it down.
Yeah, so I just carry it. So no.
But for the music fest, I got a feeling I'll be able to partake. Yeah, because I don't think it'll be as stressful. I don't have to run a weigh in.
The best thing is your Thursday night captain's meeting is now.
I'm taking party. We're gonna go to Catula's on Thursday, which normally would be a captain's meeting for an event.
Right.
It's at the captain's
meeting. At it.
I set the standard on that. You know, I did that first too, Bob. Yeah. Nobody ever did captain's meeting. Nobody ever did them on Thursdays. I didn't know that. Oh, they always did them on Fridays. I'm like, why the hell am I doing a captain's meeting on Friday and I got to turn around and get up and go run this thing because the captain's meeting is always turned into a big party for us.
Yeah.
So if everybody's getting hammered, I mean, who wants to get up?
Type it in.
And nobody wants. Yeah, nobody wants
template.
to. Nobody wants to get up on Saturday morning. I mean, I've fished a couple of tournaments, hungover. I'm like, why did we have that last beer, man?
Can't do that if you're serious.
No. Well, I mean, and these were just, I fished with Chris Cincy in the spot tournament. And me and him were out that night raising hell at the Lemon Bar. Yeah. And he's out there honking a horn. And Teresa's like, Chris is out front. I'm like, oh, shit, man, I overslept. And we went out there and we got 4th place in the spot tournament. I caught him on a spinnerbait. Huh. I was hungover, man. I'm talking about hungover bad. Me and Chris got hammered because he don't really drink, but he was my designated driver. And we did the whole Lemon Bar and all that. And I was like, man, I guess it's midnight. We got to go. We got to fish in the morning. And then next thing I know, it's, Chris is out there, that big diesel, blowing. I'm like, God dang, dude, it's 5 a.m. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting Cincy in here, man.
Now, tell us about who's your team that's helped put this together. And it ain't all you.
No, it's not all me. So I want to give a big shout out to David Plummer. Yeah. Of Outback Marine Construction. He built he built my deck, and he's been his dad owned that big record company, Cypress Records.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So his dad owned Cypress Records. So he has a little bit of history with doing some music stuff, but he did build a stage. He built a badass stage for me. And then Your Epic Vibes, Jordy Hernandez, and
Jordy,
that's his brother. So Jordy and Kenny. And they're going to handle all the tents and everything.
Yeah, you guys have such a good
we got a
connection that you don't even talk with them constantly or anything. Yeah. It's hey, we just met up and everything's good. Okay.
Well, he earned that though, because the first year that Your Epic Vibes came on, Jordy did a $10,000 sponsorship.
And it was the first year for Palm Valley.
Yeah, and
he really helped the transition.
He helped me a lot, and then last year he helped me, but then we got rained out. Remember how hard it rained at the captain's meeting? And so this year, and Jordy and I talked last night. When we were up there doing the stage, Jordy just got it. He's always mapping stuff out because he's a promoter too, because he does the tents. And I said something to him, and he said, "Dude, I love you." I'm up there on the stage, and he goes, "Chip, what do you think?" I said, "Just do what you want, Jordy."
Yeah,
I got enough confidence and trust in you now that, dude, just do you. You know what I want. You set up many of my venues. Just make it pop, And so he'll be setting up the tents and everything, and so Paul Rohan, and then of course Stephanie is the beneficiary for Autism Wonderland, and she'll be on TV with us tomorrow. But other than that, Bob, as far as raising the money,
I'll take your coffee orders whenever.
As far as raising the money, we did have a friend of ours, Cheryl Davis. She's an RN. She raised $22,000. Wow. So I didn't. I think this is the first time I let people delegated. Because with the flounder pounder, I wouldn't let anybody take anything from me. I think maybe that's why it stressed me out so bad, because I try to do it all.
Yeah.
With this way, I'm delegating more and not worrying about it as much. I'm giving more manageable duties to people, not micromanaging. I'm kind of sitting back and like, this is going to happen because you can't build it alone.
Right.
I think with the flounder pounder, I was just too nervous to let somebody, what do you mean? Where are you at? What?
No, that's your baby.
It's my baby. Yeah.
and every year it just grew a little more. You're like, I can take on a few more.
Yeah. It was, but the triple challenge was a bucket list thing for me. It's kind of would suck now with the trout, laws coming into effect where you only have one fish under 19. Yeah. You can't keep one over 19. So that means you do it.
I thought it was 19 to 26.
No, the redfish is 18 to 27.
18 to 20. Oh.
Yeah, but the trout this is all new regulations that are going in for the speckled trout. Yeah. So now, before the triple challenge,
it was 4 or 5.
You could keep 5 up to 19 and 1 over 19. Now you can't possess 1 over 19 inches. Oh. So that means everybody's going to have a 19-inch fish.
Okay, so it's NASCAR.
Yeah, they got restrictor plates on them. Nobody's going to be able to get away. But that triple challenge, Bob, that was a bucket list thing for me. Yeah. So, I really wanted to knock that out, and I knocked it out last year. We did, we raised $38,000 with that, which I was proud of. I could have done better.
I think what we need to try to figure out, and I've had a few other people talk about this, is doing some kind of a go live.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the future,
because then you can
bring this out there.
Eliminate the
slot limits, and
you eliminate the weigh-in too. Yeah, so what they do is have somebody videoing it.
Shows.
Yeah, and they weigh it in the boat, and then it's And so you don't get, you know, that way if you get an 8-pound trout, you just go, here it is, and you let it go. You don't have to bring it to the weigh.
So everyone's agreed that scale that one person is using is okay?
They're all the same scale.
Well,
and the same bag, you know.
But it's not the same exact scale per one. So the people that were complaining are now fine with it for some reason.
Well, but I mean, but when you do the one Bob one, they would weigh them in the boat, but they all have the exact same scale and the exact same bag.
Okay.
So nobody's doing like a Berkeley scale or this one. It's they all have the same one. And then you got to have a good filmer because they have to send all this in.
Mm-hmm. So it's all taken together and handed out. The scales are
you hook the fish and you go live.
I thought you just had to. Okay.
So you would be on the boat. Like if me and Chip fish, we could say you're going to be our marshal. Yeah. And your job would be to sit there and enjoy the outdoors. And then whenever somebody hooked up, you would film. Well, in my case, me and Jamie didn't have a marshal, so I hooked the fish and he's grabbing the camera.
Oh, he had a banner day.
And it was like, but the cool thing is, you know, you can see that you've caught the fish and you're putting them right back where they live. So there's not a lot of no impact, you know?
Yeah, there's low impact. So all the, you know, all the conservationists are happy.
But, you know, we were fishing.
Format.
Yeah, we were fishing against people from North Carolina to Key Largo. So you can do it.
Yeah, they did it all just the whole in the East Coast. So everybody was fishing against each other.
It makes it more of a fishing show that we always have on.
Oh, hell, every time I went on Facebook, I looked at Bob. He's like, God damn, he's got another 8-pounder.
That's so exciting.
It's very cool. I mean, it's fun. And then it's like you don't have to have a launch site because people can put in wherever they want.
Yeah.
And you take a video right when you get to the ramp, you're like, here I am.
It's a little more lax.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, it's still, they still have rules, but they're allowing to go, you don't have to leave from the same place. Yeah. But then if you don't have the video live and all that of the fish, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You have to submit all that videos.
So can you just take the video and let's say you have a bigger fish that you catch later, you can just delete that video. You don't send it until the end.
It goes up live.
That's what I thought.
So you keep a tally. So we had a piece of paper and like, okay, fish number one was this.
You can scratch out fish number one if needed.
And so the tournament director, you know, Chip could be sitting here at this desk watching, and he's just probably got a spreadsheet.
Yeah. If you need one, I have one.
Yeah, that's another thing real quick. I got to give Piper a huge shout out. You know, one of the things I did with the flounder punter, I never could get a decent spreadsheet.
Right.
And she built me an Excel spreadsheet. I couldn't understand why I couldn't populate the top 10 like that. I'm like, why aren't you able to hit a button and show me who's leading the tournament without having to? And she built this badass spreadsheet. So during the weigh-in last year, she's going, we're waiting on you.
I know, you guys were so sweet. And we were just laughing. They're like, girls, we're waiting on you. And we're like, no, we're waiting on you.
Yeah. So last year's weigh-in was actually the smoothest.
Oh, it was the best ever.
Yeah. It was. Because,
that was one thing.
Piper was in the hot seat, which I call it the hot seat.
I was recoding some stuff while I was doing it. I'm like, let me read it.
That is very stressful. Like when I'm calling out, like Brian's calling the weights out. And, you know, you've seen people like arguing like, what? And that was one reason why I always made sure the girls are protected where nobody can go up and talk to them. Right. Because people were like, where play somebody and all that. But I couldn't understand why I couldn't populate the top 10 because you had to build the spreadsheet. And then so when Piper got done, I was able to show, because one of the things I hated in my tournament was like, some people want to know where they laid. Like, and I never had the opportunity just to hit a button. So when Piper hit a button, it showed 1 through whoever weighed a fish. So if you had 28 guys, it showed, which it sounds easy, but if you don't have the program, no, you can't.
I tried to show him, and while I was showing him, there was an error that happened, and I said, "Oh, look, a great learning process." And he went, "Oh my God, it's broken. How are we going to fix this? What are we going to use now?" I'm like, "No, it's really okay." And I showed him like it's done.
And you know what? And she built the spreadsheet on Friday night. So after usually at the captain's meeting, all the girls are there trying to put everything in, and they would screw shit up. So now all we did is take her papers. They gave them all to Piper. She went back that night and built the whole freaking spreadsheet, which was so that way, if you didn't have, like, sometimes people come in and say, we got a lady angler. And I'm like, is she on the spreadsheet?
Oh, yeah. The next day you could call in and say, hey, I need this, blah, 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 or whatever. Okay, you're now this number. And we change it right then.
Yeah. Well, now that you got all figured, you just gotta run it again, brother. It sounds like you gotta.
That was one thing I kept asking him every year. I'm like,
she was always going to be the way. She's always going to be on there. I mean, now that I'll use her, I said, well, damn. One thing about it, I did have the best team, and then Brian Dufek was the weighmaster. We did a great. We ran a tight ship.
My dog was under there the whole time, and no one knew.
Dallin was there. I don't care what anybody says because I've been to a lot of tournaments. Nobody ran a tournament as good as I did. As far as like getting the boats up, I have the best badass volunteers on the dock. Bubba, Jimbo, John Amone, all those guys. Those guys are on point. bring the fish up, let's get them weighed and get you moving.
Yeah.
And there was no downtime. There was no, and that's what I loved.
Well, that's huge because a lot of times you go to these tournaments and there's no
organization.
Nobody knows what to do.
There's no organization.
You had Dean who was throwing the numbers to me.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was, I definitely have a machine of great volunteers, like the same core guys now. I told them they become roadies. So they went from being doc, Bubba's no longer a doc guy. Now he's a roadie.
Now he can have a beer in his hand instead of water.
I said, now he's just my eyes out there. But yeah, man, it's been a hell of a trip. What do you think, Bob?
I mean, it's a good one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show.
Everybody knows more about Chip now.
Well, I mean, they know about this part of it. I mean,
I wanted to, when I built the script tonight, I'm like, let's pull the curtain back a little bit, and I think we've done that.
Yeah,
I see the working part of it.
Piper?
One thing I wanted to mention is we mentioned how amazing your dad is with the 20 years in the service, but you never mentioned your mom.
Yeah, my mom she was
pretty impressive.
She was a Navy wave. So back then,
oh really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and she was one of the first waves to come from Guam, which is a U.S. province. Mm-hmm. And I was really proud of that. She was one
first
of the
woman.
Yeah, there was four.
California, first four.
And then she went to San Francisco in the Navy and met my dad in the Navy there. And my mom was a big supporter. She passed away in 2020, but she was a huge supporter of the Flounder Pounder. And yeah, I have a lot of people, I've always, and I mean, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I've always wanted to write a book because I want to give people hope, because there's so many people out there right now. Somebody's child is being diagnosed with autism. And you know who our hope was?
Yeah.
Jenny McCarthy.
Right.
Yeah, because she had written a book. It says, I cured my kid of autism. And Teresa, was like, we didn't know. And there was so much hocus pocus out there, so they could read and see what we've done and what I've done to create a negative into a positive and give some people some hope. Every day, I just got a call from a guy that just told me his grandson got diagnosed and they're having a hard time finding some place. That's the biggest thing. And that's the biggest problem that people come to me is like, the schools are too expensive. The public schools suck. Do
you still have to keep them in a school for a certain amount of time before you can move them out?
You have to go into public school for 2 years before you get the McKay,
That's
which
insane.
is the scholar.
Really?
Yeah.
And no one knows that.
Well, yeah. Well, we found that Teresa did all the homework, but it's hard for me to tell people like, hey, I got my son in the school because I created a monster of a tournament and I don't pay.
But that's not how it happened.
No, it's not how it happened. I mean,
you went and you toured it and you said, all right, fine.
Well, I mean, we paid the first couple of years, but when I reached a certain amount of money, I didn't pay no more.
Yeah.
We were comped a scholarship, and it's expensive because these women got masters and PhDs and all that. You're not paying them $10 an hour.
Right.
So those private schools aren't cheap and they're really full. And so that's a big problem I have to handle. But I'm always here to talk to anybody about autism and the road that Teresa and I navigated through. And, anybody knows they can always call me, but I don't always have the perfect answers. I just tell you how I would do it. Mm-hmm. There was no book. There's still no book.
You said you wanted to make a music festival. Okay. You said you want to make a podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I'm hearing is a book, and all of this happened within a year.
Yeah. I mean, all I need to do is find a good ghostwriter, man. I mean, it would really be a great book because you look at where we started with Tyler. It was 3 years old when he was diagnosed, and he's 20, and the steps we went to and all the stuff we've overcome, and the story of me, creating this tournament and creating a brand and relying on using autism as my platform. Mm-hmm. That's what and then you're not using it in the sense like I'm abusing it, but that is my cause. And it touches everyone now. Dude, nowadays
it's arm's length from everybody.
Nowadays, either you're directly or indirectly affected by autism. Somebody in their immediate family has, my nephew or my it's really crazy how much of an epidemic it is. The problem is we don't have places for these kids.
Yeah. And it's not really an epidemic. It's just our counseling and our testing has gotten better better equipped to diagnose children and give them the right care they need.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got anything else you want to ask me to the show, Bob? Who is our guest next week? Do we have a guest yet?
No,
Frank.
I think we're trying to get.
We're going to try to get Larry, or either Frank or Larry Minier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Piper will be going back there. We'd love to have Piper here all the time.
Can't do it Thursday night. I'll be in Steamhatchee again, so that'll be Wednesday, Tuesday.
I'll work Wednesday. We'll see. We might just take a week off and come firing back.
We still got to dive back into the history of tournament fishing.
You kind of like that seat, Bob? You like that seat?
That went by the wayside.
I'd rather sit over here.
You're comfortable.
Oh, man, I'm very comfortable.
I don't look fat.
This is actually really, I like that setup.
I think, Bob, I think we'll start. I think I'll just sit over here a little bit and we'll mix it up. I like it. What do you think about that? I wish we could have Piper here all the time.
Yeah, my stomach's hidden.
I'm over here sucking it in, man.
I know.
But anyhow, I want to, thank you, Bob, for interviewing me and always asking the appropriate questions. I want to thank Piper for sitting in with us. I enjoyed you sitting in on it. I told her, she's been stressing it out all day, but it's really fun.
It was just, you don't ever have to hear yourself talk. And I was never one that I enjoyed that. Chip, that's why he's really good at promoting.
Yeah, but you sound great. Yeah. You sound really good on the mic.
It took me a minute to enjoy my voice.
And of course, Bob's got a great voice on the mic.
I'm still too far away because I don't want to hear my own voice.
You sound good.
You sound good on mine.
Oh, good.
Well, we want to thank this guy.
Yep.
Yes.
Andrew, you're the man. And we don't know about the show next week. We'll dive in. I'll look at Andrew's schedule too. We got to work around his. But we are looking forward to getting Frank, Larry Minyard, Terry Lacoste. We got a whole list. We got to bring another offshore guy in here too. We got to get more offshore boys in here. Yep. Frank Viney's still leading.
For some reason, I always want to bring it up because I like the rules and regulations. But Jim Suber.
Oh yeah, we get Jim Suber in here.
I mean, that'd be really cool. He knows all the ins and outs.
I bet you Captain Jim would come on here.
There's a million.
There is. I mean, it's unlimited. People can always comment and tell us who they might want to see on here too. But anyhow, I'm going to let Bob take us off the air.
I don't know what to do here. Thanks to Chip and Piper.
Here goes the music. Here we go.
Let's see.
There we go.
There you go. Make your
Rock
sign
and
off.
roll. Yeah, it's going to be a Wednesday night. Come on out Saturday. Check out the festival. Mm-hmm. First annual. Should be fun. I mean, there's plenty of time to go down there. It's a long day.
It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a fun day, though. We're going to raise a lot of money. We're going to raise
weather.
I got a little special I'm going to do too. I'm not telling nobody about it, but
I'm proud of you for everything.
PBO,
thank you, Piper.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I've seen that hard work.
Yeah, it is a lot of hard work. Kind of what some people might say out there in social media world. I ain't robbing the blind. I'm just doing what I can do. I'm just a blue collar guy for the West Side.
Yeah, this has been 10 years in the making, not just 6 months.
I'm for the West Side.
ROTW.
ROTW. We'll see you guys next week. Bob Morris, Piper Nyx. I'm Chip Davis. We're out.